So in terms of videos, when it comes down to coilovers, we always have to have Rainey here because Rainey is like the coilover guy. I kind of did your intro for you, but if you guys haven't watched any of our videos in the past, this is
Brian, the only person that's static here.
Yeah, pretty much. And Rainey is here to talk to us about the top most Google asked questions on coilovers. Are you ready?
No.
Now you have to remember that this is the top asked questions. So don't anticipate anything good at all. Like nothing good.
It's already set.
Yeah, so just so you guys know, you're watching Fitment Industries. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you're looking for wheels, tires, suspension, fitmentindustries.com. Ready? All right, so the first question, are coilovers worth the money?
Depends on which aspect you look at. I mean, for the cost effectiveness of lowering a car, like someone like Eric wouldn't want his car, you know, as low as mine. So he's gonna buy something inevitably a little cheaper than like say Air Ride or KW V3s or anything like that. So I mean, like an entry-level coilovers, you just want like a little bit of a look. Yeah.
I don't think there's really been ever somebody to say that coilovers aren't worth it.
Right.
Because I don't think there's anything negative, if you install coilovers correctly, that like would be bad. You get a firmer ride, lower center of gravity, so you get better performance. If you install them correctly, you don't have to worry about like rubbing or anything like that. So like there's never gonna be a situation which coilovers wouldn't be worth the money if you're looking to make the car better. Coilovers, are they worth it? Yes, but if you go into the expensive ones, the differences become pretty marginal, I would say.
Well, it depends. Like BC offers like the Drift series coilover, which is gonna be like vastly different than like your road track. You know, the guys like KW V3s and put them in their Porsche or you know whatever they want. Like so, they're gonna be vastly different because like the progressive, digressive rates and everything like that will be different, but they have the same general structure of what they should be doing.
Next question, are coilovers easy to install?
Yeah, I mean like the ones that'll like mess you up the most usually is a McPherson front wheel drive car. I just did a 2015 TDI and it requires removing the axle nut, the axle bolt and pulling the hub out to get the factory McPherson strut and spring out, which if you don't have like the correct tools, it's not fun. But past that, like pretty easy. It's 3 bolts, 4 bolts per corner, and it's out and in. And then after that, it's just simple adjustment with a spring.
That was really fun.
Yeah, well.
Totally easy to install. I
think it's easy.
Coilovers, I think they can be scary for a newbie though. Because when you're looking at a coilover from like a newbie perspective and they start talking about like compression and clicks and this and that, and then you got the springs and you don't know how low you're supposed to go, and I think it can be scary. I think coilovers though are one of those things where if you're trying it for the first time, I would say, you know, send it and try it, because if you follow the instructions, it's not terribly difficult, but you have to be willing to follow the instructions.
Yeah, and that, like, I've never worked on a TDI, put coilovers in it. It's one of those where I just leave it the way it came out of the box, throw it in, you can easily adjust it after that.
Yeah, pretty much. So the next question is will coilovers void my warranty? Yes, they will.
Yeah, more often than not, they're going to. It's just like lifting a truck here. I mean, it's gonna really depend on your dealer. I mean, some dealerships like Lebanon Ford, probably okay with it because they're a massive performance like oriented Ford dealership, but most of your dealers are gonna say anything usually suspension or drivetrain related, no longer covered.
Yeah, I think it's, if you buy a new car and you start messing with anything, especially considering insurance and stuff like that, they do not want to pay out if you make a mistake or you hurt something or you damage something, and they will do anything possible to void your warranty. Even if it comes down to like when people like switch out wheels and stuff like that can void warranty, or they switch out, they don't go with like the recommended brake pads and stuff like there are horror stories of things getting voided for warranties depending on how expensive of a car you buy. Oh, Rainey, this is a very tough question.
Ooh.
I don't think that you're actually gonna get this right. The question is, and I really want you to think about this one, are coilovers better than lowering springs?
That's a really tricky one because cars like the new SI have, I think it's like active adjustable dampening from the factory, which I put lowering springs in because my friend wanted to keep that. So we did lowering springs, and I'll agree with it, like that's fine. Like I'd want to keep that too, especially on a brand new car. And he put 40,000 miles or so on his car in the first 7-8 months he's owned it. So I mean, do you want to put coilovers in a car you drive that much? No. Do they both have their pros and cons? Definitely.
It's weird because a lot of times when we even talk about lowering springs and suspension, we talk about how like lowering springs is the entry level, and if you want to get fancier, then you go into like coils or air, something like that. You go into dialing everything into a T. But for newer cars, a lot of times for you to keep a lot of that factory stuff, you can't do anything else besides springs. And a lot of cars, especially like I know the BMW platform, that all you need to do are springs, because once you get the springs done and you keep your active dynamic suspension, you get a lowered look, you get the increased performance, and you save tons of money, and then you have all of the same tech that you had before. You don't have to worry about anything going out. I think once you get into the older stuff, the coilovers will eventually outtake the lowering spring capability, but if you're buying a brand new car and you're talking about if lowering springs are better or worse, you'd actually be pretty surprised to find that lowering springs aren't that bad, actually. Final question. Are coilovers easy to adjust?
New, or like my cars never get driven in winter, so you don't get like any of that road grime and stuff. And I always
See, I do.
Well, yeah.
No.
But no, I've driven cars in winter, and what I tend to do is pressure wash. I'll jack the car up, take the wheels off, pressure wash the threads, and then I'll coat them in WD-40. Because I mean, they're coilovers. I just want the threads to be fine and not gunked up. But once they're new or they're well taken care of, I mean, I always spray them with WD-40 beforehand. But I mean, like if you bought used coilovers off Craigslist and they're crusty like they are up north,
that's terrible. It's so painful. You're breaking knuckles so often. And everybody, especially if you're installing coilovers for the first time, you're going to make this mistake, or you're going to say that you're going to lower your car, or you're going to raise your car in the wintertime. You're going to say that you're going to.
You don't.
But then winter comes and you don't. And then you think to yourself, I'll just send it through the car wash a couple times and it'll be fine. Except it won't be. It won't be fine at all, because you're gonna go 6 months, it's gonna cake everything onto it. And then when you take off your wheels to put on your new wheels, your summer wheels, which you bought at fitmentindustries.com for all your wheels, tires, and suspension needs, you end up looking at your coilover and thinking to yourself, wow, this sucks. And then you're gonna have bloody knuckles because you're gonna be taking that knuckle adjuster and you're just gonna be slamming into your fender liner. If I had any recommendation, they are easy to install as long as you take care of them. WD-40 works wonders in terms of the threads, or a lot of times I know you can actually just use like pretty much like your basic,
petroleum jelly.
Yeah, that you can just kind of put on there and then it just sits on there. And then you, at the end of the winter, or when you go into the new season, you can actually like go through, clean it, wash it off, kind of take like an old wire brush, and then you're right as rain again. But if you don't prep your coilovers for winter, you're gonna have a terrible time, I promise. Pretty much any inclement weather.
Yeah, another good option too is like they're kind of pricey and they're more tuned for like the high-end cars, but they make shock socks.
Yeah.
And it's just a big sock that goes over your shock.
Yeah.
And
so
that protects a lot.
So there you go. Those are the top most asked questions about coilovers, which is really, really generic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad. Drop a comment below if you have a question on coilovers, and we'll try and get them answered. Otherwise, let us know in the comment section below what you would like us to see talk about next. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries.
And I'm Brian from Custom Offsets.
And we will see you guys later. Peace.